TJ, the Wheel Deal, coming at you live. It is Thursday, Friday Junior, baby, April the 3rd, 9:45 a.m. Central Time, Texas time. I expect that this is going to be a very small crowd. So we're going to get intimate today. I'm going to be a shoulder that you guys can lean on, because I know there's a lot of y'all that are probably in a state of paranoia, a state of panic. I've been here before. I'm not that flustered, to be honest with you guys. Why? Because I'm thinking 3 to 5 years down the road, tariffs, schmarrows, April Fools. Was it April Fools? A late April Fools? Was it Liberation Day? The only thing that got liberated when my cover calls that might have been underwater, right? So anyway, we're going to talk about it. And then I'm going to take a page out of Bob Hanson, a friend of the channel, a personal friend of mine as well. We've had several conversations over the phone. He bought me this Celsius little decoration that I have on my desk right here. And he asked Google 3 questions about tariffs. So we're going to ask Google those same questions today. That way we all have the same information. Nobody's guessing. Well, I think this is how it works. I think that's how it works, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But before we do that, let's see how the portfolio is doing, because y'all don't want to hear me rambling. Nobody gives a shit about my analysis. Everybody wants to know what's a trade. I was making jokes on a Mids channel because Chris was on there fucking rambling and sounding all smart the way that he is, right? Because he's a super smart dude. And I'm like, enough with the analysis. What's the trade, right? What's the damn trade? How can we make money here? Because at the end of the day, give me a thumbs up if that's what you're more interested in. Do you care more about my opinions, or do you care more about this is what I'm doing to make money in these situations? Because at the end of the day, we all got to figure out how to make money. We're all dealing with the same market conditions, guys. We're all dealing with tariffs. We're all dealing with, China and Mexico and Canada. And, they've been ripping us off for years. And we're all dealing with the same stuff. We're all dealing with the same stuff. But the question is how you manage your personal portfolio. So what I can do is show y'all what I'm doing with ours, because there are several portfolios here. I'm going to be able to show y'all 3 and show y'all what I'm doing about the market, how I'm playing the market, how I'm still going to manufacture the win. And then hopefully y'all can take some nuggets from that and apply it to your personal situations. So let's get into it, guys. So I've got it queued up already. And I got it here on the Big Tasty account. The Big Tasty account. It's more like the Big Nasty account right now. And I've got it on the actual share ownership, first and foremost. So we've got SoFi. There's 150,000 shares owned. The average cost is $7.44. Currently, SoFi is going for $10.93. So there was a total investment of $1.16. Current market value is 1.6. Open P&L on those shares is 522. And this is getting updated, guys. So this is probably pretty accurate, I think this is tied to like Google or Yahoo or some shit. I don't know. Troy Hutch did this thing for me back in the day. Tesla, there's 6,500 shares at 261. It's currently going for 263.73. There's 72, so up a little bit on the Tesla shares. Amazon is no bueno, right? I almost sold these damn shares like 238. And I'm real pissed off about it, but it is what it is. It's also Amazon. Doesn't really cause a lot of stress, because I feel like, we're down $250,000 here, but it's Amazon. Is it going out of business? Very, very, very unlikely. So we have these shares at 203. They're currently going for 177. So that part's no bueno. We can all agree on that. My beloved Riot, no bueno, but it's probably trading closer to where it deserves to be trading right now also. So I feel like it's a legitimate opportunity to add to this position if I'm still bullish. So there's 150,000 shares at 851. So I don't have the best entry point there. The shares are currently going for 722, so 1.276, currently less than 1.1 in value, so down 193,000. Collectively, still up net positive on the shares. So that is what's going on with the shares. Now I want to talk about the open options, because the name of this stream was $3 million of cash secured puts are now in the money. And you guys will see it right there. 3 million 35,000. So let's talk about it. Let me see if anybody's joined the stream. Not yet. I do have the link up there if anybody would like to join. So this is for option. This is for Bob. I reached out to Bob as well. Hopefully he'll be available. And if any one of y'all want to just shoot the shit, join the stream, we could do that as well. You have any questions on how to manage your portfolio? I've had a handful of you guys send me emails saying, hey, I'm in a bind. Help me out. I'm here. I'm live. Ain't hiding from anybody. I'm here to help you out, but you got to do your part and click the link, right? Or at least on the chats, on the chat, like comment, be like, hey, this is my situation, and I'll do my best to kind of like do a special episode of Wheelers for you where it's live Q&A, and I'll help you out as best I can, quote unquote, not financial advice, right? Let me check in with you guys real quickly before we go over the options, and then I'll switch over to the Tasty Trade account so y'all can see that everything on the account is what I have over here. This is just easier to see. Without further ado, though, before we do all that,
hey, buddy,
what's going on, Bob? How are you?
Wild day, brother.
Well, Bob, you've been in this game for a long time.
Yeah.
And I know that it seems wild today, but 3 to 5 years from now, this is going to be a blip on the radar.
Sure.
And whether or not it was necessary, that's above my pay grade. Or, that's above my pay grade. I don't know. I'm not an overly political person, as you know. Some people think that I'm very leaning to the right. I'm really not. I'm really not. I was raised by people from Mexico that were at our ranch illegally. They taught me how to rope and ride. They taught me how to work on cars. They taught me how to do some carpentry, landscaping. That was my very first business as a 12-year-old. Was I opened up a landscaping company because a quote-unquote wetback gave me the idea. It was like, hey, muchacho, you do it, because I had the tractors, I had everything from the from the ranch, and we could get hauled around. Had the little flatbed truck. And my God, dude, I started going. I get an apartment complex that gives me business at the age of 12 because I had an idea that this dude had given to me. So he helped create this entrepreneur that you guys see here today. So don't talk to me about immigration. You follow me? I'm not your guy. I'm not the Republican when it comes to that side of the house. I'm just not. Because I was raised with those people, and they're not all bad hombres. I'm here to tell you. And I'm using a quote from Donald Trump back in the day. But fiscally, I tend to be very right-leaning. But socially, and talking to me about healthcare, I tend to be very left-leaning. So I feel like I'm just one of those, if shit makes sense to me, I'll rock with it. I don't care what side of the fence you think that it falls on. To me, it's just, if it falls on the side of common sense, I'm down, right?
Right.
And that's how I am politically.
I'm with you, brother. I mean,
go ahead.
I'm with you in the fact that I hate talking about politics because it's so divisive.
But it moves the needle with the market. It does.
It does. And unfortunately, doing what we do, we have to keep our ear to the ground with politics, because as you see today, politics is going to affect our decision making. And unfortunately, it's like one of those things that I can't avoid, but I wish I could. But economics and politics, U.S. economics and politics often go hand in hand. So it's a necessary evil, I guess.
Bob, real quickly, talk to me about the background, because we haven't been live on this channel for probably a month or so, and we used to do our power hour together.
Sure. Well, this is my office.
We need to bring that back at some point because it was really good. So talk to me about the little. I see SoFi. And I see Sim. I don't even know what Sim is. Is it that Symbiotic or something like that?
Symbiotic.
Yeah. You were super excited about that one a few months ago.
Oh, still am.
Anavix. I know Anavix is the batteries. TJ Rogers. Soundhound. Okay. So are those the companies that you're invested in, or companies that you haven't? Is that like your watch list? And I see the boring investor. Where did you get that? Is that on Amazon? Because I have a little plant over here, and I got the idea last night because we want to talk something about on your channel about tariffs, right? Yeah. So I called you this morning, and I was like, I feel like I need that little ticker tape over there.
Yeah, they're not real expensive.
Under my whiteboard.
Yeah, for sure. They're not real expensive. If you look up Glance, GLANCE LED, if you Google it, you're going to see they sell these tickers, and they're not all that expensive. In fact, I purchased this one a while ago, as you know, because I remember showing it to you when I got it I got it delivered. But they now have an actual. This is kind of a square version, a smaller square version. They actually have like a longer
strip,
right, where it'll scroll. So that's something you might want to look at as well.
And is that like plugged into your computer where you tell it, hey, I want you to give me the update of this?
No.
How does that work?
No, it's not plugged into your computer at all. It actually just works off of Wi-Fi, and there's an app for it, and it just receives the signals through Wi-Fi to constantly update the price action. Now, it doesn't do anything with pre-market or aftermarket. It's just from open to close. But yeah, you can add symbols to it. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. You could add more symbols. Basically, I only have like my core positions for this business on there right now. But, you can add more. You can even add like, if you want to like quote of the day, you can put your quote of the day on there if you want, and that'll flash. Anything that you want to put on there, basically. You can put the weather, you can put sports scores, whatever it is you want to do with it. Glance allows you to program it however you wish. But yeah.
That's super cool, dude. Well, I definitely am going to look at getting one of those. I had the invite there for option as well. We have quite a bit of people that have tuned in from X, and we have 44 people rocking with us live on YouTube. I know it's still live, so I don't expect a big audience here right now. But I thought today, Bob, was important. It was important to go live earlier than I normally do, because there's a lot of people that woke up, they looked at their portfolio. It started last night when the futures tanked to like 1,000 on the Dow Jones Industrial. And it sets off panic buttons, right? It sets off alarms in your mind. It probably makes your heart beat funny, probably elevates your blood pressure and all that stuff. So what I wanted to do was try to be the voice of reason. And I'm glad that you were able to join today, because you're always cool, calm, and collected with the market. Although I did notice a little bit of fluster in your voice talking about the tariffs yesterday.
Yeah.
Because we're all emotional creatures at the end of the day. And I don't think you're so much concerned about, oh my God, is my portfolio going to be okay? It's just more like trying to understand the magnitude and the gravity of the situation and what's going on. Like these trade wars, we're going to bear the brunt of it, right? As consumers at the end of the day. And not everybody is financially, not everybody is as financially stable as we are.
Correct.
So that's tough to see, and I know that things are bad because I had a couple of buddies call me yesterday and they're like, hey, I was just calling to check on you. Are you okay? We keep hearing all this news on the market. It's almost like they're calling me to do me a solid and talk me off the ledge, because they have no idea what I really do. They just know that I'm I'm saved on my wife's phone as TJ Stockboy. You follow me? So that's kind of the reputation that has preceded me for a few years now. So they they just see these headlines. If it bleeds, it leads, right? Trump, tariffs, the Dow's down 1,000 points or whatever. So they're calling me and like, hey, are you okay? Right? Don't pull the trigger, that kind of thing. Right. And I'm like, dude, y'all need to stop watching CNN, because you're never going to find Trump doing anything right.
Right.
And stop watching Fox, because you're never going to find Trump doing anything wrong. We're okay. I go, I know that you're not going to understand what I'm telling you. And I had to go on the speaker because my wife was with me in the car when it happened. It was actually a couple of days ago, because we went to pick up the dogs from the groomer. And I was like, I sell puts, I sell calls for a living, and I roll when it makes dollars and cents. And I know that's not going to make any sense to you, but it makes sense to me. We're okay. Yes. And he started laughing. Like, he was like, oh shit, I wish I didn't even open this can of worms, right?
Yeah.
But that's when we know that the bottom might potentially be approaching for this cycle, because the average Joe that's probably not even invested in the stock market is talking about it right now. It's kind of like whenever, hey, have you heard of Bitcoin or back when Neo was trading at like 50, 60 bucks? Oh my God, Neo. And you have, anybody just talking about these random companies that they don't know much about. You're like, shit, it's getting real toppy down here too. It's real toppy up here. It's very, very frothy. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I'll tell you mine real quick. I think we're just getting started. I think the forecast calls for a lot of turbulence, a lot of volatility, and probably a minimum of 5% overall correction from where we're at. If this turns out to be a negotiation and countries want to play ball.
Right.
If they don't want to play ball and they want to do their own reciprocal tariffs or whatever the jargon that they're using these days, my dad is bigger than your dad and we're like little kids and my dad can beat up your dad and that whole shit, right? If we play the game, I think we could be in for a 10 to 15% correction. I'm talking about overall on the Dow and the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. From these levels, what does that mean for your high beta stocks? Brace for like a 30 to 40% correction.
Absolutely.
That's my point of view. What say you, Bob? Did you freeze, Bob? Did you have a heart attack with all the Celsius you drink? Where are you at?
No, see, for me, you're freezing, so it might be my Wi-Fi. I'm not sure, but yeah. But yeah, it's, I think, without getting political, I think what kind of hit me last night when I was kind of talking about it is you and I both know, from an economic standpoint, we've got to deal with a lot of fluctuations here and there and rumors and, higher interest rates, lower interest rates, so on and so forth, inflation up and down, so on and so forth. I think what kind of bothered me the most about all this is I feel like this is I'm not going to say it wasn't necessary because that's a political opinion, but what it definitely was a decision made that is going to hurt the economy and going to hurt consumers, at least in the short to medium term. And the fact that
define
just
short to
not
medium.
so long ago.
Yeah, but I'm saying define short to medium term because that's such a big term.
I would say at a minimum, I would say 3 to 6 months from the short term. And here's why I say that, because we know the particulars of the tariffs, but
Right.
It's going to take some time for the data, for all the effects of the tariffs to start rolling out and being presented to us. And that's going to take some time. So what is the one thing that the market hates? And that is uncertainty.
Yes.
It does not tolerate uncertainty. And even though we have a decision made on these tariffs, what we don't know is the effect quite yet. We have an idea. We can listen to economists about what's going to happen, but until a lot of the market is kind of like fear, but then you have to see it to believe it. You have to see it in the raw numbers. And when that happens, depending on how you feel about it, I think there's possibly another leg down. Because unfortunately, I think that not all investors, but some investors always think buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And what if these aren't dips anymore, right? What if this cloud hangs over our head and the data starts showing that we're going into a recession?
Right.
There's not going to be a dip.
Agreed. I think you froze again, Bob. I think Bob's frozen. I'm not sure. I don't think that's mine. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me okay. Oh, baby. Whoa. We definitely not going to turn the camera around right now, guys. My baby's still on team sleep over there. She was kind enough to bring my smoothie, though. Hello. We got a banana. We got 2 scoops of protein powder. We got the banana. We got strawberries. We got berries, and made with the first portion of this core water right here. That's probably about a liter, or I'm not sure, 30.4 fluid ounces. So that's what's going on. I do that, and then I put it in the freezer to get it the consistency a little thicker. I could just also make ice cubes, or use ice cubes, but I didn't do that. Are you there, Bob?
I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi's been really wacky lately.
And they must not have.
Yeah, can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. My Wi-Fi's been really bad.
Yes.
I'm only going to stay on here for a few more moments with you, TJ, because of that. But yeah, I think it's just, I was saying we were so conditioned to buy the dip, and that's great, and that is often a really good strategy, and it's proven to be a good strategy, especially over the last few years. But it's going to work out. And it might be one of those times, right? Buying the dip over the long term will probably work out, of course. But in the short term, I don't think you may not be finding a bottom by buying a dip. And you better have enough capital to continually be purchasing no matter what the market brings to you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, buying the dip works until it doesn't, right? But historically, and we have, a couple hundred years of data now to show that buying the dip is a pretty solid strategy on good underlines.
Right.
Buying the dip overall on the U.S. economy has proven to be a solid strategy. But now we're talking about specific underlines, right? Not all of your underlines are going to make it. I was in one IDEX. It did not make it. All right. I was in BNGO. That didn't work out well. I was in SENS, the SENS. That didn't really work out too well. I've been in a handful of stocks that were extremely early on, and they ran out of money before they could figure out how to, turn the corner or whatever. Are you there, Bob?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
So I think that this is a time to really take inventory of the stocks that you own and ask yourself, why do I own these stocks? Do I only like these stocks when they're not causing me any pain and they're going up and to the right? Mm-hmm. Or am I excited because this is a legitimate opportunity to accumulate more shares at a much cheaper price? Or as my wife says, less expensive, right? Because you don't like the term cheaper. So if you're not excited that your stocks are on sale, there's a couple of things going on there, Bob, in my opinion. Hopefully you can still hear me, or you guys can at least hear me. It looks like Bob is frozen. Is you haven't managed your bankroll accordingly, so you're not positioned to buy the dip, or your investment thesis is a little shook right now. So if that's the case, I say go back to the last 2 or 3 or 4 earnings reports. Go find an earnings report. Like, let's say if you're in a Bitcoin miner, go find an earnings report if you're invested in the Clean Sparks, the Marathons, the Riots of the world, and go listen to that earnings report of when they were dealing with Bitcoin at $40,000, $50,000 a token. And what were they saying? How confident did they sound? Were they positioned for this type of thing? Because you're invested in the miners right now. We're talking about Bitcoin at over $80,000, right? If you're worried about a riot when Bitcoin's at 80,000, or your feelings towards it when Bitcoin was 30,000, because I was in it when it was 20 and 30,000. And I was excited about the prospects then. What do you think I feel about Riot right now? I'm freaking excited, and they're actually holding up pretty damn well right now. And I know that they have the balance sheet to where they can't go out of business. So this is the time that if you haven't learned about the financials of the company that you're invested in, Go learn about those financials because it's going to solidify where they stand in your mind and why you own that business. If you can't find a legitimate reason as to why you own that business, then I think you need to make a note on your journal, a mental journal, if anything. Say, hey, I'm selling the next rip and I'm going to move it into higher conviction because I don't like the way this makes me feel.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited about
TJ, I'm
on sale right now? Go ahead.
Yeah, TJ, because of my Wi-Fi, I'm going to let you go in here a second. But the one thing I want to leave you with is this is the point in time where if you have been really good and disciplined with your cash management, you will be rewarded. And I want to emphasize that, you don't think about cash management a whole bunch until these type of scenarios arise. And then is when you say, oh my God, all that discipline that you've been using is now, it's coming to the forefront. And you're realizing what you now have the ability to do because you have the cash to do it. So it's just a something that I think about all the time, because I know a lot of people are, they want to invest every single penny constantly, every week, every month, with no cash reserves. Yeah. And then they get to this point and they say, oh crap, look what's going on. And I don't have the money, cash to invest. And I think this is just one of those situations where you can literally feel the effects of good cash management.
Absolutely.
All right, brother. I want to let you go because
real quickly, Bob, the 3 questions.
Sure.
Who pays for tariffs? I'm going to put them in the chat because I'm going to use Google to answer these questions. Who pays for tariffs? What's the second question? Are they inflationary?
The second question, yes. Are tariffs inflationary? And the third question was, what does the Fed do to combat inflation? Because it feeds off the second question and the answers within AI from the second question. So,
I can answer 2 of these questions, and I feel like they're 100% accurate. But we'll use AI. Tariffs are definitely inflationary, and what the Fed does to combat inflation is raise interest rates, and that's typically not good for stocks that don't already have a massive cash pile. Because if you need to go borrow money, it makes money more expensive, right? So that's going to cut into your earnings as a smaller company that is not quote unquote fully funded. Google, Amazon, Tesla, bro, they don't need money. They're more solvent than the U.S. government. They're okay. You know what I mean? Microsoft, they're okay. But a company like Riot, where it's like, well, they're okay for like a couple of years, and they may go out and need money, or they're going to have to issue shares because now they got convertible notes and all that other stuff. And we're going to have Jason on the channel next week, so we'll know exactly how does he feel about Riot, because he's the one manning that company, right? He's the one captaining that ship over there. So good stuff. We'll ask Google here in a little bit. I appreciate you, Bob. Thanks so much, man. And give me a shout. We'll catch up.
The one thing real quick, TJ, is when you ask those questions, also look at it from the eyes of the consumer, because consumer spend has a lot to do with the economy. And
it's going to go up and to the right, and that's not
when
good.
You look at it, understand the domino effect. Exactly. When you look at it, understand the domino effect that it's going to have. So thank you, TJ. Let me get out of here with my horrific Wi-Fi today, and I'll talk to you later.
Appreciate you, my man. We'll talk soon. Let's get on to it, guys. Let's get into it. Appreciate Bob for coming on. I wish his Wi-Fi would have been a little bit better, but that being said, I'm definitely thankful anytime somebody comes on here and imparts their knowledge, takes time into their lives to kind of like help us out. But let's get back to the portfolio real quick. So what is going on with the portfolio? These are the open options So everything in red is in the money. So we'll talk about it. So what's going on? The Amazon cover call at 220. It's at 179. Those aren't being threatened. This is for 517, for 516. Clean Spark, $6 cash secured put. I had some at 7 or 650. Close those out. They were for 417. I was like, let me go take on more credits. Let me go lower the strike price. So effectively, I did a roll, but it was a lot more than that. Now I got 2,000 cash secured puts on Clean Spark at $6 for 516. Because I was like, dude, if the market really, really tumbles, give me Clean Spark at $6. I think that I can manufacture the win. Still got Neo, still got Neo twice at 450 and 4. It's currently at 372, and got naked calls at $5. Then I got cash secured puts at 7 on Riot. And again, I had these at 750 and 7 for 417. I was like, I got a funny feeling about it. So this was like 245, 250 in the afternoon yesterday. I was like, let me just go sell 1,000 cash secured puts at 7, 516, bring a lot of credits through the door, kind of let the dust settle. And then I got the Riot cover calls for 417 at $10. SoFi, cash secured puts at 10 in the distance. These are backstop trades. They were doing very well until today. And then we got the SoFi cover calls at 15 for 516. And then the only thing that's not on here is the leaps. There's 1,000 leaps at 15 on SoFi. XOXL, cash secured puts, 15, 16, 17. Those are all in the money, guys. All in the money. And SOXL is tanking at 1228. You want to play with those triple leverage? You know, you want to play with fire, it's going to burn a little bit. So I have to be okay at some point of taking ownership, or I also have to be willing to potentially sell more cash secured puts, because if I liked it over there at 17, I should be loving it down here at 12, right? So that's the thing. So you got to ask yourself, are the semiconductors going to be okay? Or is this just going to go to zero? Or are they going to have to do reverse splits? How's it all going to work? The answer is, I don't know yet. So I'm just kind of standing pat and I'm not doing anything. I'm okay taking ownership of these shares. We still have well over a month on the clock. I'll manage it 21 days out, maybe be able to kick the can down the road. And instead of being at 15, 16, 17, maybe I'll be at 16, 15, 14, even if I have to do so for a small debit. That's the beautiful thing about having taken in a lot of credits, is I could choose to roll for some debits as well. And then I've got the naked calls at 23, 24, and 25. So we'll see how they look whenever I get onto the actual platform, because maybe it's going to be time to put these at like 22, 21, and 20. Bring in some more credits on the naked call side of things, because that helps some of the bleeding as well. And that's the beautiful thing about the Tasty Trade platform, is I'm able to sell the other side. I don't have to take ownership of those shares to be able to sell the other side, right? So this is all money that came through the door on SOXL that I wouldn't have been qualified for otherwise. Keeping it going, Tesla. There's cash secured puts at 175 in the distance, backstop trade. Another cash secured put, 100 of them. I sold them yesterday. Backstop trade at 200. So, you know, the timing wasn't that great there. I'm sure those are down like 10 or 20% right now. And then I've got the short dated cash secured puts for 516. Not really short dated, but, you know, 45 days out. 516 at 220 and 230. I just rolled those yesterday for massive credits, but they're still out of the money. Tesla's hanging in there at 265. Then I've got I've got these cover calls. These cover calls at 300 for 516. Those are covered because we have 6,500 shares, but these others are not covered because I don't own these shares yet. So there is 70 naked calls at 350 for 516, and there's 50 naked calls at 375 for 516. And I could technically sell 100 more, but let's not get crazy. You know what I mean? Let's not get crazy. So total premiums collected is $1.3 million, and that is taken into account the $257,000 that was spent on leaps. You know, so here I could probably make a little, just a side note here. I could go SoFi 15, and then I could do something like, it's 1,000 contracts. The trade types leaps. leaps. And if I go over here and I click SoFi, copy that formula, put it over here, and then where's the price? Where is the price? Oh, shoot. Okay. So let me just do this right here. Cut, paste. So where is the strike? So this strike was 15. So this is a leap. This is 15. So that's the current show price. So equals some, I think it's price or something like that. Is that how you do it? Hold on. Let me see how they get this formula here. Equals L1 dot price. L1 dot price. Okay. Equals this guy dot price. There we go. So now we're in business. So we know we got the leaves, and then I paid 257,000. So then I would know that the total premiums collected was actually that's the total premiums collected right there. Is 1.260, but I surrendered 257 of that because I wanted to buy leaps on SoFi. So just a little personal note there. So good to go. So that's what's going on with the current option. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that. Present, stop screen. And then now we're going to get into the actual portfolio. But before we do that, let me see if there's any Q&A that I can deal with. Somebody's messaging me over there. It's hard for me to deal with those messages while I'm live, so they're going to have to wait. What else have we got? Bob, I see you're on Team Alani now. I don't even know what that is. At these levels, god dang it. Okay. Those are so cool. Morning, TJ. Yes, I guess so too. Be like 2022. What's going on, Steve? Awesome. Appreciate you. So some 34 puts on Hood and another on Tesla at 200 would like to get assigned for what expiration date? I don't know where those are right now. We'll look here in a little bit whenever I get on the platform. For sure. Agreed. He's right. Buying the dip isn't going to work this time around. The market is going to fall 50%. Global financial reset. Man, I don't know. That's like, to me, it sounds very crystal ballish. It just, we don't know, guys. We got to wait and see. Like, play what's in front of you. We don't know. We're speculating. I feel solid about CleanSpark. I feel solid about Riot. You got to deal with dilution whenever you're in those types of businesses. They're small. You know, they're small companies, relatively speaking. And at the end of the day, they got to do what they got to do to survive and then thrive. So you got to be willing to rock with them on that roller coaster. And I think it'll be fun. I think it'll pay off in a big, big way, long term, short term. It's bumpy. There's turbulence on that plane ride. Who pays for the tariffs? Are tariffs inflationary? Ryan is solid because they got a good balance sheet. So I don't think they can go out of business. What does the Fed do to combat inflation? those are three questions that I want to answer here in a little bit once we go through the portfolio update on the actual brokerages. Consumers pay for terrorists, Fed pauses, Trump needs rates lower, bots, tip, GLD, cut today. Trump is about America first, manufacturing comebacks to U.S. global trades going to supper. Happy Thursday, another pocket filling day. TJ, work them hotkeys, my man. 20th light. Appreciate you guys. All right, so let's get into it. Are you adding more on SoFi? We'll see. I'm looking. I'm going to pull up the portfolio right now, and we'll see how it looks. So let me get over here, and there's the portfolio. Let me get it a little bit more maximized. So y'all can see that it is pretty bloody, guys. We're down 805,000 on the big account, down 78,000 on the intermediate account, and on the little account, down 3,800. So you guys can see right there. I don't know what's going on here. I can't click on anything. Huh. I think the computer just froze, guys. I'm not sure if you guys can see me. That is so weird. I can't seem to close out of this thing. See if I can force shut this thing. Hold on. Control. There we go. My screen totally locked up, guys. Sorry about that. The servers are struggling today because everybody's portfolio is bleeding out. So let's try this again. Share screen. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. There we go. So let's try it. No. I can't get it to work, guys. Can't get it to work. So I'll keep working on that. In the meantime, let me just do this. Let me quit this. Let me start it again. 1 second. Let me see if I can reboot over here. One second, guys. Force quit. There we go. There we go. Can you guys hear me? I wonder if it was my site and not Bob's. Anyway, so we'll figure out the portfolio update here in a second. I'm going to log back on to Tasty. I force quit all that stuff. So let me answer these questions right here. Is who pays for tariffs? Are tariffs inflationary? And what does the Fed do? So I feel like the importer pays for the tariffs, and I think those costs ultimately get passed on to consumers. That's what I think. But let's see what Google says. Are tariffs inflationary? I think that because the price of goods is going up, that is by definition inflationary. What does the Fed do to combat inflation? They typically raise interest rates. And what is the trickle down effect? I think that if a consumer has less money to spend on things that they want because they have to spend money on things that they need, that's typically bad for economic growth, and that could potentially lead us into a recession. So that's kind of like a synopsis of what I think, but let's see what Google has to say. So we're going to go share screen. I guess I'd have to first, who pays for tariffs on goods? So let me go here and see what it says. So here we go. So while importers or businesses bringing goods into a country initially pay tariffs to their government, the economic burden often shifts to consumers through higher prices or to foreign businesses who may lower prices to remain competitive. Here's a more detailed explanation. When a country imposes tariffs on imported goods, the businesses that import those goods into the country are the ones who pay the tariffs to their government, shifting the burden. Economists argue that the economic burden of tariffs can be passed on to others. To consumers, businesses may raise prices to cover the cost of the tariffs, leading to higher prices for consumers. To foreign businesses may lower their prices to remain competitive in the market, effectively absorbing some of the tariff costs. Here's an example. If the U.S. imposes a tariff on imported steel, the U.S. companies that import steel will pay the tariff to the U.S. government. However, they may then raise the price of steel to cover the cost of the tariff, which would be passed on to consumers. Recent studies have found that the Trump tariffs were passed almost entirely through to U.S. firms or final consumers. So there's that one. Then now the other one is, are tariffs inflationary? Are tariffs inflationary? So according to this, the tariffs are expected to raise prices on trillions of dollars in goods imported each year, and could disrupt supply chains, reignite inflation, and worsen a souring economic outlook. Did tariffs contribute to inflation? What is the main problem of tariffs? Let's just click on that. The main problem with tariffs is that they raise prices for consumers and businesses, reduce trade, and can lead to retaliatory measures, potentially harming global economic growth and stability. Tariffs, which are essentially taxes on imported goods, increase the cost of those goods, which businesses then often pass on to consumers in the form of higher costs. So it's essentially a tax, right? You were out there, you're used to paying, $1 for sodas, and now all of a sudden the sodas are $1.10. That's a tax that has just been imposed on you. Why it happened, etc., it doesn't matter at the end of the day to the end consumer, right? Cigarettes, same thing. So a lot of like these discretionary items, they're going to, and not just that, the necessary items are going to go up in value. Let's say a home, let's say a car, let's say those go up 10, 15%, and you're in the market for one of those and you need one of those large ticket items like a car or a home, and you go and you fork out, like this home was $500,000. Let's say we had to pay $575,000. Well, now we're paying a mortgage on another $75,000 worth. So that would probably increase our monthly output as a family by $750 to $1,000 a month. So that leaves less money for other things that you might want to do, like go to the movies, go out to eat, etc. So that's kind of like the domino trickle down effect that it could have on the economy that is, negative, if you will. When one country imposes tariffs, is retaliation. When one company imposes tariffs, other countries may retaliate with their own tariffs, leading to a trade war where multiple countries impose tariffs on each other's goods. Distorted markets. Tariffs can distort markets by making domestic goods artificially competitive and foreign goods less competitive, which can lead to inefficiencies and reduced overall economic activity. Impact on developing countries. Tariffs can disproportionately harm developing countries as they often rely on exporting goods to earn foreign currency and may not have the resources to compete with tariffs. Reduce consumer choice. Tariffs can lead to a reduction in the range of product available to consumers, as some imported goods may become too expensive to import. Increased inflation. Higher import costs due to tariffs can lead to increased inflation as businesses pass on the higher costs to consumers. So all in all, not great. Not great, guys. But now the argument becomes, is it necessary? I don't know. I mean, Donald Trump's the president. He feels that we've been taken advantage of and it needs to stop. So he's taken measures to try to make it stop. But I think that there's going to be some short to intermediate pain. And I'm thinking more like a year and a half. So I think that this is turning into an accumulation year for stocks. But as an option seller, as a premium seller, I'm super excited because I think it's also going to be extremely volatile. So that means that the premiums are going to be really, really high as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, I want to appreciate and thank the 78 people rocking with me live on YouTube. That number has now doubled since we first started. So it tells me that Amit's probably not live anymore because most of my audience comes from his channel. And then the 1,837 people that have seen the link on X. I know there's not 1,800 people watching on X. I'm not that popular over there. But anyway, let's get into it. Now, let me see if y'all bear with me a little bit. I'm going to see if this thing is working. Still not working. Still not working. So I can't seem to do anything on the app. So I'm going to try to go at it a different way, if you will. I'm going to try to go at it a different way by just going to the actual website. So let me see if I can do a little login this way. Bear with me, guys. I'm doing something on the back end. Sign in. This isn't the format I typically like, but that's okay. Yeah, is it trading? I haven't been on this one for a little while now, so man. So I do have it up. Guys. It's just trying to learn how to navigate it. So give me a second because I'm on the website. I'm just trying to figure out how to get to certain metrics real quickly. Bear with me. Oh, shoot, man. How do I do this? Is it manage, maybe? I guess we'll start with this right here. So go present, share screen, tasty. So we'll start with this right here. And it's going to show the command. That's the beautiful thing about being on the website is the cool thing is you can make the screen bigger which is awesome. So anyway, so essentially we've got the net liquidation value of 9.3, options buying power is 2.3, stock buying power is 4.7, starting day trading power, that's irrelevant. Long stock value is 6.2, long options value is 212. So what does that mean? Bought the leaps for 257, right, on SoFi, and they're currently going for 212, so down on those leaps. Short stock value, there is none. Short options value is 1.4. I've already showed y'all that collected 1 million. So y'all can see that we're down on the cash secured puts and covered calls. That's how that works. And the cash balance is 4.380. So there's a shitload of cash there. So that is what's going on in a nutshell. This is showing, no bueno, all this stuff here. It's just a chart. It's just bleeding out, bleeding out, bleeding out. I have it on privacy mode because, guys, it shows like a lot of information here. So we try to protect that. But I don't know how to do much else. So I see trading there. But y'all see these little round circles there. Those round circles are all the accounts. So this is going to be a little bit tougher to navigate unless, hold on, let me close this out for 1 second because I found an arrow there. Let me see what happens if I push that arrow. Okay, I think I figured it out. Okay, I think we figured it out, guys. Bear with me. Bear with me. There's always a workaround. Here we go. So this is featuring the big account. Yeah, this is featuring the big account. So we're going to take it from the top down. We're going to go with SOXL. So SOXL and NEO are in the money. So let's talk about SOXL. So what's going on with SOXL? There's cash secured puts at 16, 17, and also 15. There's the ones for 15 here. And then there's naked calls at 25, 24, and 23. Well, I don't know what's going on with the dogs. One second, guys. Let me go check on these damn dogs. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. It's a circus over here today. Gavin. Anyway, so let me see if I can make this just a little bit. That a little easier for you guys to see. That is the beautiful thing about being on the internet versus on the desktop platform thing, because I can make the numbers a little bit bigger. So that part's kind of nice. So anyway, SOXL, let me see how I can. So SOXL, we're in the money, right? So there's that. But I do have the, gosh, trying to get a better view here for me. Like, this is tough. This is why Option doesn't like the website. He prefers the desktop, but can't get the desktop to work today. So NEO, what's going on with NEO? There's cash secured puts at 450 and at 4, and then have the naked calls at $5. So there's not a whole lot going on with NEO. We're just kind of waiting and seeing, right? That's all we're doing. It's trading at 372, so it's not really that big of a deal. SoFi, this is the one that is interesting. The leaps are at 214, and I paid 257 for those. So I've considered adding 1,000 more leaps because that would be $214,000. And then now I could lower the covered calls from say 15 to even 12. And I'd be okay getting into cash because in this environment, I'd rather have all the cash and go sell cash secured puts on that. And then if SoFi does a moonshot, well, I'd have those 2,000 leaps that I'm writing up. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And then I still have the 500 cash secured puts for January at $10. So I'm considering buying 1,000 more leaps and maybe even selling 1,000 more cash secured puts at 10. That way I feel like I'm not leaving any money on the table whatsoever if SoFi does a moonshot to 20 or 25 bucks. So that is definitely something that I'm considering. Riot is actually holding up surprisingly kind of strong, in my opinion, considering, everything that we're dealing with in the market right now. Not really looking to do anything there, guys. Playing a game of wait and see. Placed a bet, a big one, $700,000 bet, right? So made an agreement to buy $700,000 worth on May the 16th. So I'm not looking to deviate from that right now. I'm going to save Tesla for the last one. And Amazon, there's not a whole lot going on. I own the shares, getting hammered on the shares, but I got them for sale at 220. But we're doing okay on the P&L for the covered calls. Clean Spark. Had a winning trade yesterday. I closed it out and I opened up a new one in the distance for 516 at $6. 2,000 contracts, collected 26 cents. If I'd have done it today, could have collected 37 cents. So that part kind of sucks. But at the same time, it's for Clean Spark at $6. It's trading at 740. So I'm kind of sleeping pretty easy. Pretty easy, all things considered. And now let's go with the featured stock of the day, which is Tesla. I'm going to see if I can make this a little bit smaller so we can see more of it. Let me see what I do to close some of this stuff out. My gosh, here we go. Is that better? A little bit better. I know what all this stuff is. Huh. Well, they're just trying to get more space here. It just seems so crowded. I don't know how to minimize that. I wish it would let me expand it that way, but I just don't know how to work it. I'm never on this particular platform. So what's going on with Tesla? There's 6,500 shares up a little bit on the shares. That's what's going on with that. Got naked calls at 375 for May. So those are up 44%. So not bad. Got naked calls at 350. Those are up 24%. Not bad. Then we got the cash secured puts for 516. This is all for the 516 cycle. So we got cash secured puts at 220 and 230. Those are still okay. Down a little bit today, but they're still okay, relatively speaking. And then we got the cover calls at 300. Those are even doing okay for 516. And then we've got the backstop trades. We've got 50 cash secured puts at 175, still up on those, surprisingly. And then the ones that I sold yesterday, the 200 strikes, 100 of those down 14% on those. So that's what's going on with Tesla. I'm not thinking I'm doing anything right now. I'm just kind of staying put right now. So the only move that I see potentially in the portfolio would be to buy more leaps on SoFi and lower the strike price on the covered call. But I wouldn't keep it at the 516 cycle. I would move it up to like the April 17th cycle because I would be looking forward to getting in cash. Because the last thing I want to do is, we're up 495,000. There's no reason to ride these shares back down to like $8 or $7. You know what I mean? Do I think it's going to go that low? No, I think the floor is absolutely like $10, but still, but still, so this is something that I'm definitely going to consider doing. I'm just not even sure how to on this platform. Let me see. So it's this one right here. So actions. I wonder what actions is over here. What does that mean? Close position, quick roll. No, that ain't it. So I think I'd probably just click on it and just go trade maybe and see what it's going to pull. So those are that. Man, this thing's complicated. Let's see here. Buy 1,000. No, that's just buying shares. That's not what we want to do there. Yeah, this is definitely more complicated. I can't even find the options chain on here. Oh, hello, options. So it's this guy right here. It's this guy right here. There's 1,000. So I just hit right here. Can't figure out how to add more than one contract though. Review and send. What's it saying? It's saying I gotta contact them to increase my limit. I wonder if I can't have more than 1,000 leads. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll figure that out. But that's the only thing that I'm considering doing, guys. Other than that, there really isn't a whole lot to do there. There's really isn't a whole lot to do there for me. Let me see if there's any way to look at the other positions. Let me look at this one, see what's going on with this particular. And this thing is way complicated compared to the other one. I've gotten so used to the other one, guys. I just don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. At all. Oh, I need to take that off. There we go. So let's look at the other portfolio real quickly. So SOXL is no bueno. That's at $23. So that part's not good. Neo is 500 cash card puts at $4. Not a whole lot to do there. And that one is for April the 17th. So that is, well, kind of something to do there. Might be time to roll the down position. There's one. On TSLL, it's at $9.95. I see 100 cash covers at 5.7. I see cover calls at 12.7. I see more cash clear puts at 7.7. So there's not a whole lot to do there either. And there's only 1,000 shares owned at 809, currently going for 997. So that part's good. And then SoFi is definitely the pain point here. 33,000 shares at $7, currently going for 1095. So that part sucks today, but it's still overall pretty good. There's cover calls at 15 for April the 17th. Those are doing good at 82%. And then there's the backstop trade, 200 cash clear puts at $10. Those are not doing great. So that's what's going on with this particular portfolio. Let's look at the little one. So I take this off. I take this off. I go here and here. The little one doesn't have much going on. There's cash clear puts on Neo at 450 that are in the money. And then there's covered calls at 450, both for 43 days out at 450. So there's not a whole lot going on with Neo. SoFi absolutely getting obliterated at 110 leaps at $20 for June of 2026. Just absolutely getting crushed, down $12,000 or 47%. but I do have the calls on, running the poor man cover call on this one at $20 for June. And those are doing okay. Those are up 43%. So that's the only bright spot in the portfolio. And then on Riot, there's 700 shares owned at 739. It's currently going for 735. So not really that bad there. Down 465 for the day, but all in all, almost even, only down $30 or so on the shares. And I do got the cover calls 43 days out at $10. Those are doing okay. So there's really just not a lot going on. This is just kind of a wait and see. And considering there's a shitload of volatility out there and stuff, this is a pretty nice place to be, to where you're not like all stressed out. You're like, oh my God, I got to do something. Oh my God, margin calls. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So anyway, let me see if there's any, okay, we did that one there. Let's read this one here because this was a good comment. I saw it earlier. Consumers pay for tariffs. Fed pauses. Trump needs rates lower. Bought STIP, TIP, GLD, CAT today. Trump is about America first. Manufacturing comes back to U.S. global trade is going to suffer. That's fair. I guess my only question on that, let's say manufacturing does come back to this country. What have I got here? I got some lint on my shirt. Let's just say it's Nike, right? Because Nike makes a lot of their shoes in Vietnam. Labor is a lot cheaper over there. So let's just say Nike built a big old factory here to make Nike tennis shoes and apparel and whatnot. They're not going to get that kind of labor here, like as far as for that price. So at some point, I feel like Nike, they would have to raise their prices, or they would, and so that's going to be passing that cost on to us. So we're essentially paying for their manufacturing and so on and so forth. So that's like another like added tax and stuff. So I guess that's the part that I kind of question is it really sound business practice to try to bring that manufacturing back to this country, like the Roaring '20s? Is that really what this country's about now? I don't know. What say you? Because I don't have, sorry. Y'all are crazy. So anyway, that's about all that's going on, guys. So just want to talk to you a little bit before I get going. I want to enjoy my smoothie here. I'm going to go grab a workout. Let's talk a little bit about margin. I have this WhatsApp group, the chat, and I want to talk about margin. So let's just say you have $100,000 and you have, $50,000 available in margin. Guys, I have a rule of 50%. So if I've got 100,000, whether it's $1 million, 10 million, if it's on 10 million, I don't want to have more than 5 million on margin. And I'm not talking about owning shares on margin. I'm talking about using cash secured put collateral as margin. Like to where, in other words, got 4 million in cash, 4.5 million in cash. I'm trying not to have more than $9 million worth of cash secured puts. Right now, I'm exceeding that a little bit. Why? Because there's a $500,000 injection going into the portfolio. So you got to know your personal financial situation, right? You got $100,000. I don't think that you should be in a situation, and I'm talking about in the account. I don't think you should have more than $150,000 of cash secured put collateral out there. It's dangerous. You got to have an if shit hits the fan situation lined up. So what is my in case shit hits the fan situation lined up? I can tell you all right now, I'm going to go take a bath on NEO. And I'm going to go take a bath on SOXL. I will close those out, take my lumps, lose about $250,000 because I would rather put that money into Tesla at 150 if Tesla went to 150. So I'm not going to be like, oh, I gotta go make this money on Neo. I gotta go make that money on SOXL. When shit hits the fan, you want to go to your highest conviction stock and be like, hey, I want you to go erase all of my wrongs, if you will, because I'm a lot more comfortable owning you. I'd rather have another $2 million into Tesla than into Neo, even though I love Neo at 4. Not so much at 450, but I love it at 4. I love it at 350. But at the end of the day, that would be the equivalent to me of having Tesla at like 150. You know what I mean? Like, or 200 even, because now we're talking about a very profitable company with $100 billion in revenue, $36 billion in cash, versus a company that may or may not be profitable a year from now. So you gotta look, you gotta learn how to weigh risk and reward, guys, is what I'm saying. So it's a real good time to take inventory of the stocks that you own. Why do you own them? Why do you want to be in that stock? Why do you want to continue to be in that stock? And if you feel good about it, and if you have a realistic time horizon of 3 to 5 to 10 years, you're not needing to pull the money today or anything of the sort, then I'd say the best thing that you could do is just relax. Because it wasn't that long ago that we were at these levels. So what really are we talking about here? I mean, it's not like there's been a 50% drawdown in the market yet. Can it happen? Possibly. It's highly unlikely. I think 5 to 10% is in order. I think that we should welcome that. It's healthy for the market long term. We have a lot of companies out there with freaking 450 PE ratio. I mean, come on. Like there's something wrong there. That is just not a healthy market. It is not a healthy market. And I'm talking about Palantir. That is not a healthy valuation. The market needs a little bit of healing, guys. This is the time to go ahead and let it heal. Position yourselves accordingly. You know, if you're one of those people that likes to buy hedges, buy hedges. I'd rather sell naked calls than buy puts. You know what I mean? Like that's just what I would rather do. Because if it goes up, I'd much rather babysit the naked calls. That means the portfolio is performing. If the stock goes down, well, all those naked calls printed money, and I got paid. I didn't have to go pay money for puts. But you got to do what you got to do. You got to run your own race. You got to man your own portfolio. You got to mind your own business, so to speak. And not mind your own business means, but out of mind, it means like tend your garden, mind your own business. We're all running our own races here. I have this channel. Hopefully it helps you guys out because y'all can see what I'm doing or not doing. And then from there, you can take things that work for you and disregard things that don't work for you. Anyway, I got to get rocking and rolling. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. This is TJ the Will Deal signing off. As always, may your sky stay blue, stock screen. Peace out. God bless you guys.